On July 3rd, at least 8 civilians were killed and several others were wounded after the Syrian army heavily shelled several areas in Jabal al-Zawiya in the southern Idlib countryside. On July 4th, a member of the Syrian army's 5th Corps was shot dead and another was wounded by unknown gunmen in Inkhil city, Dar'a. Also, an ISIS cell assassinated a member of the Autonomous Defense Forces near Al-Ghasra village in the southern countryside of Al-Raqqa province. On 5th of July, Turkish forces shell al-Sajor front lines, while clashes erupt between Turkish-backed factions and Kurdish forces in North Aleppo. On 6th of July, an SDF soldier died of his wounds after Turkish artillery shelled SDF positions in Assad village in the Aleppo countryside. On the same day, a Syrian soldier was killed by an opposition sniper on the Kabana front in Latakia province. Later in that day, 2 Syrian soldiers were killed and 8 others were wounded after their bus drove over an ISIS landmine on a road north of Sokhna in the countryside of Homs. On July 7th, 8 Syrian soldiers were killed and 2 more were captured after ISIS attacked their positions northwest al-Tuwaynat, near Itria al-Rusafa road. On the same day, at least 4 Syrian soldiers were killed by an improvised explosive device explosion near Nafa village in the western countryside of Dar'a. On 9th of July, an officer of the Iranian Guard Corps was killed by an ISIS landmine in the eastern countryside of Homs. On July 12th, 4 members of the Iranian Guard Corps were killed after their convoy was targeted by 2 ISIS improvised explosive devices in the eastern countryside of Homs. On the same day, a field commander of Liwa al-Quds militia was killed and 3 others were wounded after they stepped on an ISIS landmine near Palmyra in the eastern Homs desert. On 13th of July, 5 Syrian soldiers were killed and 8 others were wounded after ISIS attacked Syrian army positions in the Al-Rasafa desert in Al-Raqqa countryside. On the same day, 3 members of the Liwa Fatimiyun militia were killed after an improvised explosive device exploded in their car near Al-Mayadin city. On July 14th, the SDF launched an infiltration attempt in Al-Tirwazia village in northern Al-Raqqa city, killing 1 member of Ahar al-Sharqiyya and the wounding of 4 others. On July 15th, 2 members of the Syrian National Army were killed and 5 others were injured after fighters of Manbij Military Council launched an infiltration operation near Al-Gandura in the Manbij countryside. On the same day, at least 8 civilians were killed in the Masbah area near Iblin in Idlib province, after the Syrian army launched several rocket attacks in the area. On 17th of July, 6 civilians were killed after Syrian artillery targeted village of Sarja in Jabal al-Zawiya in Idlib. On 18th of July, 4 Syrian soldiers were killed, including a 2nd lieutenant after clashing with ISIS cells during combing operation in the Palmyra desert. On July 20th, Israeli warplanes carried out airstrikes in Jabal al-Waha area in Al-Sefrah neighborhood in southeast Aleppo, killing at least 5 Iranian-backed militiamen. On the same day, 4 members of the Turkestan Islamic Party launched a suicidal raid on the Syrian Arab army positions in the village of Mizans in the Aleppo countryside. The attack left all 4 of the Turkestan fighters and 5 Syrian soldiers dead. On July 21st, coalition jets launched airstrikes in Kherbat Jamus village in east of Al-Hasakya countryside. They targeted a house, killing 3 suspected ISIS militants who refused to surrender to SDF forces. On July 22nd, a Syrian army lieutenant was assassinated by an ISIS cell in the Al-Muzarab desert in the Deir ez-Zur countryside. On July 23rd, a member of the Al-Bab military council was killed and 3 others were wounded after Turkish forces bombarded areas in the Al-Bab front line. On July 24th, 3 Turkish soldiers were killed and 2 more were wounded after SDF operatives fired an anti-tank missile at a Turkish armored vehicle in the town of Hazan in the eastern countryside of Aleppo. On July 27th, ISIS attacked multiple Syrian army positions south of Raqqa, leaving 7 Syrian soldiers and 5 ISIS militants dead. On July 30th, 2 members of the Al-Bab military council were killed after Turkish forces launched a rocket attack on the Al-Arima front line in the Aleppo countryside. We tried to cover all incidents in Syria during one last month, so if you're interested in these kinds of videos, consider to subscribe. Thank you, see you in the next video.